All right, let's do Unit 3, Lesson 3, problem solving with percents. So for percent problem solving, there's lots of different ways, but I remember certain words go in certain spots. Is, of, percent, and this is always going to be 100. Okay, so since we have a fraction equal a fraction, that's a proportion, and we're going to cross multiply to solve. All right, so let's see. I've got all the 4 scenarios. I'm going to set it up and show you how it works. Okay, so it says what percent, so see the percent, I put the what, which is x, of 29, put the 29 by of, is 3. Always works. Is of percent 100. So cross multiply. 3 times 100, 29 times x, and we're going to divide both sides by 29. It says to go to 1 decimal place. So 300 divided by 29, I get 10.3, and that would be the percent. That's it. Let's look at the next one. Is of percent 100. So 41% of 78 is what? Makes sense? So cross multiply. 100x equals 78 times 41. We're going to divide both sides by 100. And if I want to go to 1 decimal place, that actually needs to round up to, I'd like to put 32.0, but I would also take this, just so you know. But put a decimal place after it to show that it's not 32 exactly. All right. %58 of what is 63.4. So 58x equals 63.4 times 100. We're going to divide both sides by 58. And I got 109.3. And the last one is of percent 100. What is 12% of 17.5? So 100x, 12 times 17.5, divide by 100. Okay, percent change. So percent change can be up or down, but what you're going to do is you're going to find the difference, whether it's smaller or larger. We don't even say it's negative, just take the bigger minus the smaller. So larger minus smaller. And you're always going to divide it by the original cost. Whether that's lower or higher, does not matter. Percent increase, obviously, is if your number got larger. And decrease if your number gets smaller from the description. So find the percent change, round answers to 1 decimal place, and state whether it's increase or decrease. So if we go from 88 to 94, we definitely increased. So now I'm going to find what is the difference. So 94 minus 88 is actually 6. Divide that by the original price. So from 88, that was my original. So 6 divided by 8, 88, I'm going to show you. Okay, now since this is a decimal, we always multiply by 100. So I'm going to say multiply by 100 on my notes. So now I want to use one decimal place, so I'm going to say it's a 6.8 increase. That's it. Let's look at our next example. We went from 94 to 54. So subtract. We get 40. Divided by our original was 94. So 40 divided by 94. Once again, we're going to multiply by 100 before we do our decimals. So I get 42.6. And we went down, so it's a decrease. All right, our last problems can be solved so many different ways. I like to do it as quick as possible. So for my discount, I actually need to, number one, determine, I call it my pay amount. So how I get that is I take 100% and I subtract the discount. Step 2 is we're going to divide by 100 to change it to a decimal, which means we're going to move our decimal 2 to the left. So then step 3 is you're going to take your original price and you're going to multiply by our pay amount. Okay, so let's see. So I've got my original price is $125 for these shoes. So if I get a 15% discount, we're going to take 100 minus 15, which gives us 85%. Divide that by 100 or move your decimal 2 to the left, which means I'm actually paying 0.85 of that amount. So I'm going to multiply this by 0.85. And since this is money, we're going to use 2 decimal places. So 106.25. Okay, that's my subtotal. So then we're going to have to pay taxes. So you're going to take your subtotal, and I need to pay that amount plus the tax amount. So we are going to, number one, we're going to take 100% and we're going to add the tax amount. Step 2 is the same over here. We're going to divide that by 100 or move your decimal 2 to the left. And then step 3 is you're going to multiply your subtotal times your tax amount. So I've got 100 plus that 7 is 107% that I'm going to pay. 2 to the left, 1.07. So times 1.07. So 106.25 times 1.07. It's money, so I'm going to say it's 69 cents. So notice, on my strategy, you don't have to do any adding or subtracting with the amounts that you find. It's just with the percents. So let's make sure we get it. So let's talk about this iPhone for $980. So I got $980, and I need to actually figure out how much am I paying. So 80% of that, which makes it times 0.88. So my subtotal is going to be $862.40. That's my subtotal. So then I got my taxes. So I'm going to add 100. So 106.5. We still move it 2 to the left. So I'm going to take that times 1.065. So the final amount for my iPhone is $918.46.